This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 119 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda. In this podcast, I will update you on my knitting and crochet antics of the last 2 weeks. And I follow that with a section on Layercake, the linen, mostly linen garment brand that I've built over the last couple of years. And in this particular episode, there's a spotlight on a new trouser shape called the Lantern Breeches. But first, knitting and crochet. Well, my knitting and crochet antics of the last 2 weeks. I'm going to show you 2 projects. They're both still in progress. One I've been working on for months, and the other one is completely new and out of the blue. And boy, has it kicked my knitting mojo back into shape, which is what was lacking a little bit. So I'll start with the project that I've been working on, which is part of a course run by Sue Maton from the Mercery. The course is called Tesselation Nation, and in previous episodes you'll be able to find out a lot more about the course if this is all news to you. I'm just going to show you what I've created in the last 2 weeks. I decided that the main flower shapes that form the core of the blanket that are supposed to be dropped in last, I needed to make a head of some of the background colors, because I think the background colors to some degree will be dictated by my foreground colors, and I did not want to leave that to chance. My gut feel at the moment is that my darkest background colors are too dark and too dominant against some of the foreground colors, but I want to see those foreground colors in play before I decide that. So what I will show you here is the template that I've been working with, and on top of that I projected color families that I wanted to use for the different parts of the blanket. So you can see, for example, that in the right top of the blanket there are purple colors coming in that kind of fade away. The bottom left of the blanket will have blue that fades away. And what I've made in the last 2 weeks is the remainder of the 11 medium size flowers. They're all going to look sunflower-like. Not quite, of course, because they aren't sunflowers. They're this kind of shape. But they're sunflower-like in their choice of colors, all inspired by a couple of paintings that I've used to inspire my color palette on. So I've got 11 of these now. And as you can see, I have cut out the photographs, for want of a better word. It's an easy thing to do with an iPhone. You can isolate bits of a photograph, and then I've projected those on top of my template to get an idea of how my color distribution of these babies is going to look. And I've also made one of the big mandala flowers, of which there are only 5. This is one of them. I'm working on the last one, which is also relatively dark. I'm absolutely loving the color combination, even though from a distance they look less sunflower-like. So that is impacting on my thinking around what the final look of the blanket is going to be. And that, of course, then impacts on some of my background colors. You can see that there is one section that has a couple of very dark looking medallions. Now, that was partially because the lighting wasn't very good. So I will, in the episodes to come, start taking more photographs where I just have all the bits that I've finished lying on the floor, rather than playing with these different sections, some of which have been photographed with more or less light. So it's not completely representative, but those 2 dark medallions do end up giving you an idea of where I'm wondering whether that is going too dark. So it's still an ongoing puzzle with the last big mandala flower almost being finished, I can then start working around those in mainly the greens in that middle section. So I'm going to start from the middle and then work outwards, if you like, and attach flowers as I go and put them into place as I go, and then attach up to the sections that I've done already. And I may end up pulling some bits that I've added already out and decide to do something different instead. It is a proper labor of love. Everybody in the course agrees, but it's very, very satisfying when you see some of the colors coming together and creating a very satisfying united front, if you like. For example, with this flower, I thought it looks really nice, and some of these, as I kept going and as I was making more of them, I felt that I was really hitting my stride when it comes to color combinations, with this being one of my first ones and one of the least satisfying ones, and this being one of the last ones, which I really like. So an ongoing project and more to come in the future. But part of my work with this project has been hijacked a little bit by a new project. Some of you may have seen, if you follow the knitting world a little bit more in detail on Instagram, that Millie from ArtYarns posted a jumper only about a week and a half ago on Instagram that she had finished, and that she had made out of ArtYarns Merino Cloud, which is one of the multicolored yarns that has very slow and long repeats of very highly contrasting colors in some cases. And I'll show you a photograph of the jumper that Millie knitted. It is a pattern that is available on Ravelry called MiZZoni. So it's of course a play on the word MiZZoni. MiZZoni is an Italian designer who works with these kind of colorful zigzags and with knits a lot in his designs. And the MiZZoni jumper, is the idea behind it is that you just use up lots of odds and ends of your knitting and of your yarns rather, and knit a jumper like that. Millie came up with the idea of not using odds and ends but using this beautiful yarn called Merino Cloud from ArtYarns. And what she did, rather than just winding up balls of each skein separately, is she created lots of little nuggets of yarn that are like between 5 and 10 grams in weight, and then every nugget is knitted in succession. So because you've got this plethora of multicolored nuggets in lots of different color combinations, you can then, for each subsequent section in the jumper, choose a different nugget and play with your colors so that you can get a pleasing result mixing them all up. So I've got my whole basket of nuggets here. I hope that's visible. So you then grab a nugget, start knitting in the it's a very standard, freely available chevron pattern, stitch pattern, very, very easy. And rather than following the pattern of the jumper, of course, I needed to do my own thing. The normal MiZZoni jumper pattern is pretty much a standard jumper shape, and I'm not into standard shapes, as you probably know. So I started doing something else. And what I have done so far, I'll show you my progress. Of course, there's no yarn attached because you just knit up a little nugget and then go on to the next one. So I'm at the end of a nugget at the moment. So what I've got here is a piece of knitting that is about 3 foot wide, about 38 inches wide. And that is slightly longer in the middle and slightly shorter towards the sides. It's because I have knitted in some short rows in the first like 4 to 6 inches of the knitting. That's where my short rows are. And this is going to be the back panel, so only the back panel of the jumper. So sorry about that, that was a very loud motorbike. My idea is the jumper is going to be relatively cropped and very oversized, very wide, with shortish sleeves. Not that the sleeves are short, of course they're going to fall longer, but the sleeve bit is going to be short. And then I'm going to put in a raglan shape. That's my idea. So I will not only get these lines and chevrons going up, but I will have chevrons in the other direction. And then I have to work out how I can decrease these stitches in a way that I can attach the chevrons coming in from the side. So I'm not going to knit that in the round. It's all knitted in sections and then sewn together. So I have to work out how to decrease this. And of course, as you can see at the bottom, because of the shaping of the stitches are running in this direction and then in that direction, etc., etc. So a zigzag, and as a result you have a zigzag edge. So if you cast those off, you end up with a zigzag at the top as well. And because I want to come in from the side, I thought I have to work out a way in which I can decrease this so that I end up with a diagonal line. I don't want to make zigzaggy panels. I want to create a very long slope of diagonal line, probably with an edge of the little eyelets that are running in between my zigzags to stick with that same idea. And of course those eyelets give me lots of movement as well, which will keep the whole thing very easy and supple to wear. So I have been working out how I can do a diagonal cast off line, and yesterday evening, yes, I cracked it. This first bit, you can see that I have not got that completely right, but if you discard the first section, which is a slightly different angle, then you can see that I've got a pretty consistent angle going here. So if I'm making a glib little smirk, then it's because I'm very proud of this, because it is a booger, of course, because this section, my stitches are running in this direction, so I pretty much have to create a straight line of cast off, whereas in this section my stitches are running like that, so it's almost like a straight edge. So I've worked it out, and I'm very happy with what this looks like as an edging. So now I'm going to calculate that if I have this edge here and I have an edge of that same angle coming on my sleeve, do I end up with a jumper shape that is wearable? And how tall is this section of from the arms to the neckline going to be? Because of course I've got all this width that I need to work away in my decreases. So I'm going to do the calculation like based on this angle. If I need to come from this edge to my neckline, how long is this going to be, and therefore how long is this section, which is my middle back for want of a better word, going to be in, what are the proportions of the jumper? Haven't done that yet. I've just knitted this yesterday evening. So I will keep you posted, and hopefully if I have a chance I will later on today do my calculations, and if I'm happy with those calculations then I can motor ahead and knit a lot more of this back panel, and then by the time you see me again I should have a lot more of this finished. So I very highly recommend a project like this. Of course, it doesn't have to be this kind of zigzag. You don't have to work in the chevron shape, although, of course, it creates a lot of extra interest to make your little lines jump up and down like that. But I could imagine that a jumper with a yoked neckline that is knitted top down rather than in sections. If you hate that, there are lots of different options of shapes that you can knit. following this same idea of using little multicolored nuggets, because the multicolored nuggets is the bit that is the most enthralling bit to this project. The fact that you have all these colors that you're trying to mix up and create a pleasing selection of colors working up. And of course, the advantage that you have if you work with full skeins rather than leftovers is you don't have to worry that you're running out of a color, because in my case, I'm working with 5 skeins of yarn. So I have 5 color families that are all mixed up. And all I need to do is make sure that I end up with a balance that is right. But I don't have to worry that, oh my gosh, halfway through I will be out of bright yellow, and then what happens to the rest? Or, you know, having a completely different colored sleeve, for example. It's going to be balanced throughout, or so I hope. So, next time, more about that. And that next time may not be for another 4 weeks now. I do apologize, but in the next 2 weeks, I am going to spend a fair amount of time in the Netherlands. I've got a family a gathering to attend, and we are moving one of our boys to Holland. So I may not be able to record a podcast in 2 weeks' time when I'll still be there. So I'll apologize again at the end, but I'm apologizing in advance now if there's going to be a skipped week in 2 weeks' time. And I'll do whatever I can, I promise. But if not, then at least there's still a Layercake section to go of this particular podcast. It's about the Lantern Breeches. Like I said, I'll explain a little bit more about what that name is all about in the next section. For now, I hope you enjoy. Lantern Breeches. I don't know if you've ever heard of breeches before. Breeches are an old-fashioned name for a type of trouser that is nipped in at the bottom so that you can easily wear them within boots or high shoes. And that inspired me, that nipping in part of the original breeches inspired me to name these trousers after those. Of course, they're not real breeches, but I thought it was a lovely old-fashioned name for a cool type of trouser. And lantern, because of the shaping that they have. Each leg contains of 8 panels, 4 in the front and 4 in the back. So there are seams running down the middle of each leg, and then there are seams going across about halfway down my calf to bring in the 4 panels at the bottom. So the panels at the top gradually go wider, and the panels at the bottom bring the shape back in. And you can see that a little bit with the pointy bits that are sticking out lower down on my leg. At the top of the trouser, you can clearly see that there's no drop crotch. I mean, the rise is high enough for anyone and everyone when you're seated as well, so that never gets tight, but it's a proper leaner leg going up, especially on the inside of your legs. Still lots of room on the outside, and then nipped in at the bottom. I'm wearing the long ones here. As you can see, those are pretty much full length on me. I'm wearing them slightly low. I could wear them, pull them a little bit higher like this. And then you can see that up to the size of 5'7", 5'8", you could choose the longer ones, and they still won't hang on the floor unless you are particularly long-bodied and have shorter legs, relatively speaking. Then you might be better off with the regular length. But these long lengths are good for a couple of inches less than I am, and I'm 5'10". I'm wearing them here with a large step top in the blackcurrant, and the breeches themselves are the blackcurrant stripe. I've done that, of course, to be able to show off a lot of the trouser, but I'm actually going to swap this step top for a love top, a cotton love top, just in size black. that only just covers my waist in my case because of my height, and that means that I can show you the different shapes of the different trouser styles, because I thought, well, presenting this one new style is one thing, but you might be interested specifically to see how they compare in terms of fit to the others. So I'm going to show the other, everything except the baggies, I'm going to show the other trousers as well, so that you can see how the silhouettes compare. Let me first change into that black love top. So love top size 1 in black, longer in the back as you can see, shorter in the front, and that's especially what I wanted to show you, because you can see here that the breeches have the same kind of slash pocket as the slackers do, and you can really see the silhouette very well now with that shorter top. I also have to apologize in advance if at any point I'm starting to look a little bit disheveled. It's because I keep ruffling my fingers through my hair, because it is really, really warm in here. And of course I'm changing outfits all the time, so it is a bit of a task. So I apologize in advance if it starts to look a little bit disheveled. That's purely the heat. I'm not complaining. I love that we finally have some warmer weather. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to swap these for the high-low trousers, and I'll be able to show you that there are some similarities between the two. So the high-lows were my starting point when I started to think about doing something with the bottom half of the legs of them, when I started thinking about the breeches. And as you can see, the high-lows also have all the panels that I described, but the outer panels are used to attach or sew in the big pockets to the pockets that run from the front to the back on the high-lows, both the bottom and top pockets. And we have taken all those pockets off, replaced them with slash pockets, and then really nipped in the bottom of the leg. So you can see the extra volume that the legs have. If I pull the leg out, then the circumference of the hem pretty much goes to the front of my shoe. That's a very different story with the lanterns. So I'll put the lanterns back on, and before I do that, I'll throw a smock on over this one and then change it into the lantern, so you can see how especially the bottom half of the leg is very, very different. So look at the fullness of the legs, especially at the bottom half. My own smock in black currant size 2 over my size 1 linen love top, and then the high-lows in the long length, large long. As you know, we only do high-lows in size large in the regular and the long length, but the breeches come in small, large and extra large in both regular and long. So across all 6 of the sizes. So again, very generous leg on the high-lows. And let me show you now, going back to the breeches, how different the silhouette is with that leaner leg. So there they are. See the difference, especially at the bottom. Still lots of volume around my knees, but leaner towards the bottom, nipped in, and therefore quite a different silhouette. And I think especially people who are not as tall as I am, and who may find the especially the bottoms of the high-lows just too voluminous in proportion to the rest of their body, will enjoy the shape of the breeches probably more. At least I hope you do. I'm going to lose the smock and back to that silhouette before showing the next pair of trousers. Long large breeches, and then long large palazzos in the charcoal crossweave here, still with the same top. And you can see a longer, straighter, no volume, no tulip or balloon shape in them. So just wide all the way to the bottom, just like the high-lows are, but without that extra room in it. I guess our most classic shape out of all the trousers that we do, if it wasn't for the funky pockets that go around the side, but that lay quite flat on the garment, so that especially when it's freshly pressed, I've just literally pulled this out of a very full rack, but especially when it's freshly steamed or pressed, then of course that leaner silhouette lends itself for different types of garment, maybe more flowy garments or more form-fitting garments to wear with it, depending on what you prefer. So I'm going to swap these for the regular length palazzos so I can compare them with the regular length breeches. 4 inches of difference in the length between the long length palazzos and the regular length, so they are cropped on me, which of course make them a fun summer trouser, but the main reason I want to show you them here is to show you the difference between these and the regular length breeches. Breeches in large regular in mixed spice, 4 inches shorter than the long breeches, so the same length difference. We do that with all of the trousers and all of the dresses as well. A difference between petite and regular, or petite and medium, is 4 inches, and then between regular and long is 4 inches as well. So there's 8 inches between a petite and a long. In the trousers though, only doing the regular and the long. This is the regular with the in the breeches. Again, you can see that seam kind of starts creeping up towards my knee because of my height. But again, a nice summery alternative to the longer ones. And in terms of hip circumference, there is a little bit of extra fabric in the breeches to make those pockets really easily accessible. I think the breeches in all of the sizes, I think the hip measurement on the breeches is 2 inches more than the corresponding palazzos. So in the case of the palazzos, with the size that I am now, and I'm bordering on a size 20, the large palazzos are just about fitting still, but are relatively fitted on me, and those 2 extra inches just make the difference of making this a more comfy fit. So in my case, I would happily wear the large size of the breeches, but I would go up to the extra large in the palazzos just because I like everything oversized, and the palazzos don't feel oversized on me anymore, not the size that I am now. So that's the first pair. I'm going to, of course, combine those with some other garment, this one with some other garments as well, to show you how the proportions work and how it looks in different outfits. We're not only comparing trousers. See, here comes the first one. So by adding just a synergy duster, a long synergy duster in the same color mixed spice as the breeches, all of a sudden this outfit looks rather dressy and rather stylish, and I've only added one simple layer. So in case of warm weather, adding something like this will add a lot of swing and a lot of swagger without making you super warm all of a sudden. So for a special occasion, or when you feel like dressing up for whatever reason, this is a really nice alternative to just keeping it simple with a top and the trousers. Let me swap this for a smock and show you what that looks like. Of course, this is not a smock. This is a tulip dress. A tulip dress in a size 2 petite, so knee length on me. And I've chosen a 2 petite because, of course, it gives you a better idea when you're short, if you're shorter and you were wearing the petite length dresses, and then add a regular length pair of breeches underneath. This is the kind of proportions that you will get. It's just that extra bit of leg that is sticking out in my case that might not be there in your case, but apart from that, you get a good idea. The next one is a smock. I had confused them, but I wasn't at all feeling bad about taking the love top off and having my arms out because, like I said, I'm melting a little bit. So, but I was very keen to show you the color of the tulip dress, because this is deep sea, which I think is a wonderful color next to Mixed Spice, and that's of course because they've got a color in common. Deep Sea is a combination of the magpie blue and teal, and Mixed Spice is a combination of the magpie blue and a tobacco brown. So that's why they look so good together. But as promised, moving on to a smock, and I'll throw a cap tunic on underneath so that I've got some covering with those big armholes, but it's not going to be, hopefully, as warm as the love top. Smock in royalty and a cap top in spring greens. You've seen me wear it before. It's one of the only like neutral light cap tops that I have, which I think is a nice kind of underpinning against the different shapes that I'm wearing it with. But it's also a really nice fresh little accent color without it being too dominant in the rest of the outfit. Hence my choice. So another nice combination with the breeches in the Mixed Spice, showing you both for color combination as well as for a silhouette. So one more smock, because some of these smocks are, of course, are part of the pre-order that is still running. So I just want to show you more color combinations between the smocks and tabards. I've got the tabard as well to show you with the breeches, and some breeches options. So here we go with one more smock before I switch over again. I really felt compelled to show you this combination because I love the Mixed Spice and the Fiddlehead next to each other. Of course, Fiddlehead having that same blue of the magpie in it, but then combined with chartreuse, and then this being the magpie with the tobacco brown. I think it's a gorgeous combination, really nice natural colors. So if you are into those natural colors and you love the small check, for example, which is filled with colors like this, then this is a combination for you. So I'm going to lose the smock and I'm going to swap the breeches for a pair of slackers in the crop length as well, the regular length. So first though, I'll just take the smock off so that you can see the breeches with the love tunic, the cap tunic rather, before I then swap into the slackers to show you the difference in the shape of the trousers. So step one, smock off, cap tunic with breeches in the regular length, compared to slackers, again in the same cropped length, the shorter length, cropped on me, not on everyone. So the regular length, this again is the size large, a little bit more roomy around the hip still than the breeches, but that same 4-inch difference. So these are a similar length to the regular length breeches, and you can very clearly see with this outfit the drop crotch and the very wide legs. These are my absolute favorite in the last couple of months. Ever since I've introduced them, I've just got one pair and I've barely been out of them. I absolutely adore them. I've got them in the longer length in hibiscus, and I'm constantly coming up with different outfits just so that I can keep wearing my hibiscus slackers. I am in love with them. Still, I know they're not for everyone. A drop crotch is a bit of a jump if you've never worn one. It's a little bit like with the play suits though. Once you've tried them once, then you don't want to be out of them anymore. Anyway, I'm going to compare this now to a pair of the regular length breeches in this exact same color. So I'll give you one more twirl, slackers, and then breeches, which of course are in that same glorious blood orange color, which is a cross weave of a beautiful soft orange together with magenta, hence the lovely bright color, proper blood orange color. And you can see how different, how much slimmer the silhouette is of the breeches compared to the slackers. So let's add some bright colors to this, shall we? smock and nightshade, and even with that longer layer over the top, you can really clearly see that there is much more definition of the legs with the breeches than there are with, for example, the slackers, which are just roomy and loose all over. So if you are very keen to try and emphasize a longer, leaner shape, and you want to emphasize your legs more of a column shape, more of a leaner physique, then the breeches are the ones for you because of that leaner leg shape, especially when you look face on. Of course, when you look from the side, you get a bit more of that volume back, but from the front, they definitely look a lot leaner. So let's swap the smock for the tabard. Tabard, of course, point front and back, teal sky, size 2 on me, and the breeches in the regular length underneath. I must grab the long length again as well. Shall I do that now? Yeah, go on. I'm going to put the long length breeches on again with the tabard, because that's a combination that you haven't seen yet. Long breeches with tabard. Another garment coming up. Long breeches with a petite cap gather dress. This is a cap gather dress in hibiscus, so that's the color of my slackers, my long slackers. So this is the long breeches with the cap gather dress, and now I'm going to swap the breeches out for the regular length. And then the cap gather dress in the petite length with the regular length of the breeches. Pocket inside, pocket outside, however you like. Couple more tops to show you with these breeches, and then we're done for this week. First off, especially with the glorious weather that we're going to be having, hopefully for the entire next week, at least in England so far, the forecast so far, but I think there are other countries that are lucky as well at the moment in Europe. So just wanted to draw your attention to the combination of not just this trouser, the new breeches with the Cocoon vest, but the Cocoon vest in general. It's got that lovely sweep. It's got a really beautiful shape. This is a size 1 on me, so it's nice and fitted around the bust. It's got armholes that are high enough so that I don't have to wear anything underneath to hide any underwear, but it's got nice wide shoulder straps so that any bra strap that you're wearing underneath is being hidden. But it does show your whole arm. So if you are not keen, you want to cover part of your arm, of course there are a whole selection of different tops, not just the cap tops, but others as well. I'll show you in a second that you can throw over the top. But I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that I still have lots of these in all 4 colors, the berry, the damson, the very light grey, and then the medium grey as well, which of course goes beautifully with the medium grey of the Cocoon trousers, the Cocoon baggies. So have a think about whether this could be an interesting addition to your summer wardrobe, because I can send them out literally on the same or the next day. Between now and going away, I will be away from next week Wednesday, the 26th of June, until the 10th of July. I'm attending a family gathering in Holland, but we're also moving one of our boys to Holland who's going to do his master's degree there. So lots going on, hence my absence. It means that all production here is still going on, but I will not be able to send out orders in that period. So if you want one of these or any of the other garments that I have ready to send out for you already that are in stock, then try and place your order if you can by, I would say, about noon on Tuesday the 25th. And then I'll make sure that it'll still go out with the mail that day. So, separate from that, of course, the breeches, the pre-order of those runs until the end of this Monday, the 24th of June, and then they will all be made while I'm in Holland and send out on the first day that I'm back, which is the 11th of July. So what about liking this outfit but wanting a little bit more coverage at the top? I'll show you an idea for that. This is a synergy top, a large size synergy top in the same blood orange, thrown over the top of the vest and the cocoon vest and the breeches. Longer in the back, shorter in the front. Of course, these come in 2 sizes, but I don't have a synergy top in the smaller size to show you. Of course, the shoulders would come up a little bit further, but I would still get that little bit of extra coverage that just covers the tops of my arms, and I have nice and easy access to my breeches pockets. So because I don't have the synergy top in the small size, I've grabbed one of the step tops in the small size to throw on and show you that as a last outfit, and then we're done. And actually probably done until 4 weeks from now, because when the next podcast is due, I'll still be in Holland, and if I can swing it in any way, I will try and record a podcast there. But I just don't dare make any promises because we've got so much on our plate when we're there. So I'll do my best, but for now, I'll just show you one more step top and I'll sign off. Step top in Magpie, small size, worn over the top of the cocoon vest and the breeches in the regular length. However, of course, since this step top has sleeves, I don't have to wear a layer underneath, which is a little bit different with the synergy top, especially in that big size. You'll look straight into the armhole, so then it's better. A lot of people prefer to then wear something underneath, but this, if the weather would heat up, I can lose the vest and just wear the step top, the shorter step top, shorter because it's the smaller size with the regular length of the breeches. I'll quickly show you that as well. So loose and airy, flowy, still covering things like bum and hips for those of us who prefer that. Easy access to the pockets, just long enough to cover my tummy, and in combination with the regular length of the breeches. I hope you love the breeches. I have forgotten to say that it's the color of breeches that you choose is completely up to you. I'm actually considering doing that more often with pre-orders in the future. Let me know what you think of that idea, to just throw open the color selection. And of course, when I'm doing a pre-order of specifically new colors, it makes sense to focus on those colors. But if it's not a particular color introduction, then a pre-order could just go across the entire range of a particular linen weight. What do you think? Let me know. For now, I'll sign off. Thank you again for sticking with me through all of this, and I'll see you again soon. Just not quite as soon as usual, possibly. We'll see. I'll do my best.